The pack, live from the Crucible, Judd begins the defence of his title at the Snooker World Championships. The time has finally come, but is he still the ace in the pack? Live from the Crucible, Judd begins the defence of his title at the Snooker World Championships.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the 2020 Betfred World Snooker Championship. All very different this year, of course, given the coronavirus pandemic, but we are here and ready to bring you some thrilling snooker over the next 17 days as Judd Trump looks to defend his world title.
After a 3-month delay, the Snooker World Championship is finally going to take place in Sheffield. The Crucible is to open its doors to a reduced number of spectators. Can Judd Trump avoid the Crucible curse?
Happy to be back here in any sort of shape or form and have a chance to defend my title. I think everyone's prepared, have been practicing hard and go out there and put on a show. Just show the world snooker on a big stage.
It's very happy for everyone because players practice for tournament. If no tournaments, there's nothing good for us.
My mind's completely set on trying to become world champion. It's as simple as that. It really doesn't matter to me sort of what's going on around it.
It ain't going to be like as you walk out, it's going to be. I've walked out there before, I'm going all goosebumps just thinking about it. When there's no one in there, it's still got that special atmosphere, so sort of can't wait to get going.
Everyone has the choice to play in this event. You don't have to play in it. If you don't like the conditions, sit at home. For me, I think everyone should just be grateful that it's an event. If not, give someone else a chance and give it your spot.
And so the stage is set. A very good morning to Steve and John. Very good to see you, chaps. Good to be back with you. We'll be talking to them in just a moment. But let's bring you right up to date with the Anthony Hamilton story. He was due to be at the Crucible taking on Kyren Wilson, but has pulled out because of health concerns. And let's just tell you what Anthony Hamilton has said in the past 24 hours. I was extremely impressed by the way that WST and their partners ran the qualifying rounds. They made the players feel totally safe. And I realise they have followed all of the government guidelines and implemented extensive measures for the main event at the Crucible. However, due to my health condition, after careful consideration, I've decided not to play in the final stages. I want to apologise to my opponents at the qualifiers, Sam Craigie and Scott Donaldson, and assure them that I had every intention of playing at the Crucible. Anthony went on to say, it was only after I finished the qualifying rounds I was able to do a full personal risk assessment based on the latest information and discussions with WST. I'm absolutely gutted not to be playing because it is the best tournament and the Crucible is the home of snooker. I wish everyone the best and hope the event is a great success. Well, Jason Ferguson, chairman of the WPBSA, gave us his reaction.
The fact is we have been operating very successfully under a very sterile bubble. We've been one of the successful sports to be able to deliver events through what is a very difficult time. That has changed slightly in the fact that whilst we still have a very sterile environment, that we are now chosen as one of those test events for a limited audience, and that really changes the landscape for somebody who perhaps considers their own health condition. We were speaking earlier with Anthony Hamilton. Anthony was very complimentary about the processes that we've gone through. We've put a lot of things in front of him so that he could make an informed decision of whether he wants to be here or not. It's due to chronic asthma. He feels that he should withdraw from the event, and we have to respect that decision.
Very difficult decisions we're dealing with here, Steve and John, and that's the point. what everyone has been through over the past 4 months or so, there are moments where you are making very, very tough decisions specifically in this case at the last minute.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. There's a few players I've spoken to already who think he's been pretty selfish, to be honest with you, playing in he's got asthma, which is something is obviously not very nice. But he's known for 3 weeks or maybe a month that there was going to be a smattering of an audience at the Crucible. So has he made the decision at the end, or has he just got the ranking points and took the £20,000? That's the question only he can answer.
Steve?
Well, I mean, I suppose to some degree, it's understandable that maybe a couple of people are aggrieved at that, but the rules of the game say that probably you can withdraw from a tournament for health reasons, and he may have fully intended to have played in the event, but at the last minute panicked. You can't really know what's going on, and as you quite rightly said, these are very strange times, and perhaps in the end it's perhaps a minor storm in a teacup, but possibly a lot of the players that may not have got through wouldn't have got through anyway. The players that Anthony beat, but maybe some of the players more aggrieved. They had to play best of 11s. That was tougher for them in the early stages, and a lot of players have been bundled out in the best of 11s that would have may have staged a comeback maybe in the best of 19. So they've been quite tough. But having said that, what a wonderful thing that World Snooker have done, putting this on. Just incredible.
Absolutely right.
The people backstage have worked tirelessly to get this right. It's amazing we've got the World Championship on so quickly and with a crowd.
Very well said, Steve. And if Anthony is watching, good morning to you, and we wish you the very best. OK, as Steve says, we have got some cracking matches in the opening round. The reigning world champion Judd Trump plays Tom Ford. That's our match this morning. Number 16 seed Yang Bintao is up against debutant Elliot Slesser. Scotland's Stephen Maguire faces Martin Gould. Karen Wilson gets a bye into round 2. Four-time world champion John Higgins faces former finalist Matthew Stevens. David Gilbert, number 12 seed, takes on Kurt Mafflin. England v Scotland as Jack Lisowski takes on Anthony McGill. Former Masters champ Mark Allen plays another debutant in Jamie Clark. Three-time Crucible king Mark Williams plays our very own Alan McManus. Crucible champion 2015 Stuart Bingham plays Ashley Carty. It's Ding Junhui v Mark King. Ronnie O'Sullivan plays Tepchaya Unu, the fastest player on tour. Jordan Brown has a tough test against Mark Selby. 2005 champ Shaun Murphy lines up against Noppon Sankam. And the 2013 runner-up Barry Hawkins is up against Alexander Ursenbacher, the first Swiss to play at the Crucible. And 2010 champion Neil Robertson will play Liang Wenbo. So looking forward to this year's tournament. And John, are you expecting a very, very different championship given the situation we're in?
Not really. I think the players all know when they come off the end of the M1 and they come round the big roundabout and see the Crucible Theatre, the palms will start sweating and they know what they're there for. You walk through that iconic venue and you're there to win and try and become world champion. And you heard Stuart Bingham there mentioning, he's going to come out and just treat it like every tournament, and they all will. Every player there knows what the Crucible Theatre's all about, and they know if you're there for the World Championship.
And the first round?
Well, there is the possibility, maybe, that some players perform better in an empty room, but as I say, we have a crowd now, so and the Crucible Theatre with 300 people, it will still sound like there's a crowd in there. It won't be an empty feeling. But there is the possibility that players are a little bit rusty. Maybe they've had a little bit of play, but the players that have come through the qualifiers may be better placed. But there's some big scalps still to be won, and there's a few new faces there that'll be interesting to see how they pan out. But standard ever increasing, I think the standard would be great, whatever.
Yep. Well, we will be going live to the Crucible throughout the next 17 days or so. And Radzi is there for us. He'll be chatting to a number of our pundits and special guests. Radzi, a very good morning. He's with our very own Alan McManus.
Thank you very much, Jamie. I have to say, just as a snooker fan, I'm delighted that we are finally here. We've got a reduced crowd here, but you can feel the excitement from each and every single one of the fans that have turned up today. And actually being on the actual Crucible floor, you get a real sense of the majesty that's here. I've obviously never played, but Alan, last month marked your 30th year as a professional. Have you had anything like this before?
No, there are changes, yes. It's a bit different for the players and for the spectators and everyone. But the one thing that won't change is the pressure that the guys will be feeling backstage right now. The butterflies will be going. Stuart Bingham hinted on it. He's a world champion, as is Judd, the defending, but the butterflies will be tingling back there.
I have to say, I can feel it, and nothing's even begun yet.
Yeah.
But in terms of behind the scenes, you mentioned backstage, a word for the team that have really helped this to happen. They really faced the challenges head on.
It's been fantastic. You know, I was at qualifying about 4 or 5 days ago. I came back home and then back down. It's been stringent measures. Everyone's been tested a couple of times at least, all players. Everything at the moment is safe, and let's hope it's going to be that way for the whole championship. I'm sure it will be, and it's now time to get down to business, isn't it?
And it'll be for yourself at 7 p.m. today, taking on Mark Williams. How do you think it will actually feel to perform this slightly new normal?
It's going to be fantastic. You know, it's been 4 years since I've been here as a player. I'm a conditions guy. I always look at the table. I've been having a sneaky peek at the table. They look absolutely pristine and beautiful, and we're all set. It's going to be a championship to remember, for sure.
Absolutely. Alan, thank you for your time and good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Radzi, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, good luck to Alan, and we are missing the old venue as well. There is nothing like the Crucible Theatre in world sport. Let's show you what we've got then for you today. Judd Trump, reigning world champion against fellow Englishman Tom Ford, is live for you very shortly here on BBC Two. Stuart Bingham against Ashley Carty starts also in a few minutes. That's live on the BBC Sport app and the iPlayer. Kyron Wilson, of course, has a bye into round 2. He's got the afternoon off. Ding Junhui starts his campaign against Mark King. It's Wales-Scotland tonight as Alan McManus, as we heard, plays 3-time world champion Mark Williams. First session of that match. And by 10 o'clock tonight, Judd Trump will be hoping to have eased into the second round as he looks to become the first maiden winner to retain the Crucible title.
2019 Betfred World Snooker Champion, Judd Trump.
It is still sort of fresh in my mind, and coming back here brings it all back. Sort of some fantastic memories from last year, and it's always going to be sort of special to me winning your first world title. That game with John, I did have a big lead, and I was able to really enjoy myself towards the end and take it all in. I was playing well enough that I knew if I got a chance that I was going to take it, and for me, being able to sort of enjoy that final with my family, probably easier for them to watch as well. And I can remember, I think I was potting the winning balls, and I was expecting just to be super excited. I think always dreamt of winning the World Championship, but it was just kind of a relief for me, and just I don't know, just a lot of sort of like pressure just leaving the body, and just feeling like I finally achieved something that I've always wanted to achieve. The world champions in the past couple of years have sort of really struggled over the next season or two, and I wanted to kind of make a point that that wasn't going to be me. I wasn't going to sort of let my foot off the gas. The form's been there pretty much all season. Just been sort of a consistent season. I don't feel like it's been spectacular, but when I look back on results and tournament wins, then no one's ever won 6 before. So I feel like there's more to come. I feel like I could win more and really step up still. I feel like I'm still improving, but you've got to be happy with the season so far. There's no pressure on me anymore. I don't put any pressure on myself here. I'd be delighted to have a good run here and just see what happens. Obviously, if you get into the sort of latter stages, then you're going to be excited. A bit more pressure comes into it. But for now, the first game or two, hopefully just relax and play something like I did last year.
And we thoroughly enjoyed watching Judd win that trophy. Well, Tom Ford reached the semi-finals of the UK Championship in 2018, losing to Ronnie O'Sullivan. Today is a huge test for the man from Leicester, turned pro in 2000, has never been past the first round at the Crucible. It's a real tough task. The players are ready. Let's say good morning on day one to Rob Walker.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. After 11 long months of crisscrossing the globe in search of sporting glory, the finest players in the planet thought their worlds would converge here on April the 18th. More than 12 weeks later, thanks to the tireless efforts of key workers up and down the country, it is with great gratitude, humility and excitement that we're able to announce we are back. back in Yorkshire, back in Sheffield, and back at the Crucible for this irresistible 17-day marathon of drama, heartache and glory. And our socially distanced crowd are poised and ready to roar once more. So sit back, relax and enjoy, because this is the 2020 Betfred World Snooker Championship. Please welcome a player emerging for what is without doubt the biggest match of his life. He came through 3 grueling qualifying rounds and survived a brilliant comeback by Rob Milkins to not only secure his place on tour, but to have the honour of walking down these famous stairs for the very first time. He practices in Sheffield and lives locally in Thurcroft. So come on, Yorkshire, raise the roof for one of your own. He's volcanic Ash Carty. And his opponent, 20 years after his debut, he's back for a 14th Crucible campaign, returning to the scene of his greatest triumph 5 years ago. What a run that was. Winner of 6 ranking titles in all, and what a performance at Ali Pali, by the way, in January. Here comes the reigning Masters champion, Stuart Ball Run Bingham. And on table 1, please welcome a player who will relish the task before him. 10 years after his debut, he's back for a 4th appearance on the biggest stage of all. 2 major semi-finals already this season. He will be truly pumped for this one. Some say there's more than a passing resemblance between he and I. He's not my twin brother, but would you please welcome the exceptionally handsome Tom Ford. And finally, prepare for the arrival of the main man himself. 15 months ago, he came here and conquered all, and since then, he's been an unstoppable force, with a world record 6 ranking titles already this season. That is why he is the undisputed world #1. He's the reigning, he's the defending champion of the world, the ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
And there he is, Rob Walker on fire this morning. Thank you, Rob. So Stuart Bingham against Ashley Carty is live on the BBC Sport website, app and iPlayer, but here live on BBC Two, it's Judd Trump, Tom Ford, in the company of Dennis Taylor and John Parrott.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning, everyone, and
a
warm welcome.
Thank you. The first frame.
The Crucible Theatre. And the defending champion, Judd Trump, is going to get the opening frame underway. So delighted that we have a World Championship this year, John.
Yeah, very much so, Dennis. And well, for you, I mean, how many years have you been going to Crucible? First time you haven't been?
First time since 1977. I've been there for every year commentating or playing, but delighted that we've got this wonderful theatre, even though it's a 3rd full, but there'll still be a terrific atmosphere.
Yes, the players all know that this is definitely the World Championship. Just know as soon as you used to come off the M1, didn't you, Dennis? And there's the crowd that we've got in, a smattering.
Yeah. And there's the man that managed to sort of Mr. Snooker, Barry Hearn there. Well done to you, Barry, and World Snooker and everyone concerned.
Yeah, here on that one. Look to see us getting back to some normality.
He's looking well as Barry. You can tell he's been on the golf course with a nice, healthy colour. Always the toughest round, isn't it? The opening round here at the Crucible, John. You know, when you get past this round, you go to the 3 sessions, which is much better for the top players.
And of course, added pressure for Judd, them being defending champion. Ooh. And he'll be sick to death of people telling him about the Crucible curse, Dennis. Of nobody who's won it for the first time has ever come back and defended it, so he'll have to put that to the back of his mind.
Yeah, a lot of people think he can do it, but this gentleman at the table will have other ideas. Terrific break builder. He's made 5 maximum breaks as Tom Ford.
Dennis, if you asked the public the top 6 of all time who'd made maximums in tournament play, I bet you they wouldn't put Tom Ford in it, but he is. He's number 6 on the all-time list. So you don't make maximums like that if you don't know which end to chalk. He can definitely play. You'll be hoping that red he's just cannoned doesn't cover the corner pocket, though.
8.
Yeah, he's got the pink there if that black isn't available, as John mentioned. But there looks to be just enough room for the black to pass the red. But as I said, the pink is there.
9.
I mean, obviously the start of any match or session that you're playing is very important, but I think so in the case of Tom here. I mean, Judd mentioned, I heard him do an interview talking about he's going to be a bit nervous, obviously defending and back to the Crucible again. And if Tom can get a foothold in this match, he can certainly play. Very good
16.
scorer, probably his own worst enemy. He's been in the past. He's yet to win a ranking event, but he's certainly
17.
got enough ability to do that. Just hasn't really settled in the main events on television in a few tournaments that I've seen, but he can certainly play. Also a lovely lad as well. Found Rob Walker's introduction rather amusing, and why wouldn't you?
24.
He actually did beat Judd 10 frames to 8. I just underscrewed that one slightly, so he wanted to be straighter on this red, so a change of plan
32.
here.
Yeah, little slight deceleration. They didn't want to screw behind the other red that's just above the cue ball, so quit on it slightly. It shouldn't be a problem.
$33.
Just means he's ran a bit further away from the black than he would have liked. He wanted a straight black and then just play for the red that is just to the right of it as we look. As long as you keep knocking him in, that's the main thing. Okay, he's gone slightly
40.
out of position, but what a good start. Already 40 points in front.
Yeah, this is a very important start to this match. And if he can win it in one visit, that really does set a marker down to his opponent. If you're going to make mistakes, I'm going to be there and capitalise. Well played.
Yeah, you mentioned at the top of the programme, John, the players that come through the qualifying rounds. It's just quite an advantage. You know, they've been here in Sheffield, okay, a different venue, but they're match fit, that's for sure. This could really open the game up. Brilliantly played. Superb shot. That's why he's made over 200 century breaks.
48.
Yeah, he's got a lovely touch. Cue ball doesn't move a lot when Tom's playing properly. Always a sign, rather like we always say it with Ding. When Ding makes a break, it looks so simple because cue ball doesn't move anywhere. Tom's very similar.
And the thing about it, when you watch the balls he's potting, they're going right in the middle of the pocket. They're 56. Not touching the sides. That's always a healthy sign.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well, Dennis. There was just a little thing. He just got down. He wasn't quite right. Just started again, went back. I know he's a seasoned professional, but it was a good thing that he got himself settled there. Started again through his routine.
I'll just have a look at that. That's 8 reds and 8 blacks, and we were talking about how many maximum breaks he's made. Surely
64.
He couldn't start the 2020 World Championship with a maximum. It couldn't happen.
65.
You've called it now, Dennis.
$72. $73.
Yeah, still in perfect position here. Amazing. Judd Trump rolled the red into that right corner pocket, and it looked like it was in. It stopped right on the pocket, and he's had to sit and watch this fabulous effort from Tom Ford.
Yeah, and there was a reason why he didn't go up for the blue early on in the break.
80.
He was thinking about this already. This has been lovely.
$81.
Main thing though, of course, first frame in the bag, one visit, exactly what you would be intending to do. Get higher. Oh, that's perfect. Good shot.
88. $89.
Oh, that got a bit of a bounce, but he's still all right. Ideally, if he could play inside and get a little cannon on the pink, it'd be nice. Little cannon on the pink. Beautiful. Absolutely lovely. And now when he runs through this red, he'll just flick off the other one.
96.
So what a chance this is for a maximum.
And there's a
97.
nice little bonus, £50,000 the sponsors Betfred have put up for this year. If a player can make a maximum. Oh, he holds his head, bows his head. What a chance that was, but nevertheless, what a way to open your account, to win the frame with a possible maximum break. Well done. Tom Ford leads 1-0.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. What a start to this year's championship. We had our researchers getting ready to get the record books out and thumb through the record book, Steve.
That just would have been crazy. And what a chance. I mean, he really will be, you know, he's a little smile on his face, but you've got to kick yourself, haven't you, in that situation? But it seemed a bit surreal that it just happened. And the next minute, I think all of a sudden it dawned on him at some stage he was on the chance of it. And that was the first signs that he started to get a bit nervous. The black before just sort of snuck in and that one overcut it. But what a start. Regardless, obviously, he's won the first frame.
I have to say, wonderful punditry from Mr. Davis, because you actually said he'll get nervous very, very shortly, and then he missed the black.
Yeah, I felt terrible now. But if the standard was ever going to be in doubt, I mean, that may be a clue that it may be even better this year. I was thinking, if it was behind closed doors, it goes one of two ways. It's an interesting sort of dilemma of a few people in. Does it feel a little bit empty? But I think if it had been behind closed doors, you could have seen an incredible standard, because that could happen. But I think there'd be enough people in the room that it gets everybody going by the end of it.
What is it like, that first frame? You starting a new tournament?
It can be horrible, especially at the World Championship, especially if you get off to a bad start, if you make some elementary mistakes. And obviously Judd missing one ball is not the problem, but you don't want the person to get away from you. You don't want somebody to get a gap on you in the early stages, because it's only best of 19.
Absolutely. Terrific start from Tom Ford.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better start than that. Well, maybe the maximum, of course, but winning in one visit has certainly shown Judd Trump that Tom Ford is here to play. And Dennis mentioned, of course, coming through the qualifying rounds, your game is sharp, but also you're full of confidence. There's no greater feeling knowing you've played decent enough and to get through to the Crucible again. It's a real buzz for any snooker player to play in this venue, whatever the circumstances. I would he's certainly hitting the ball well and plenty of confidence.
That's a clever safety shot there. He's blocked all the avenues down the right side of the table, leaving the cue ball over in that corner. And the two reds to the left are preventing Judd from coming down the left side of the table, so he might have a go at this. Certainly will have a go at it. That's the wonderful part of Judd Trump's game. It's some of the balls he knocks in.
Yes, it's very Hendry-esque. You play safety and you think you've got a decent shot, and all of a sudden he knocks one of those in and he's in with a chance to score. Having a long game is such an advantage. Well, in his case, it's an advantage for everything at the moment, because he's on top of the world, winning loads of tournaments, massive prize money every year, and full of confidence. How's his luck? Well, not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good, John, because he can get on the black from this red. Okay, there's 5 reds around the black spot, just congesting things.
Yeah, but of course the beauty of that one, Dennis, isn't it? If he leaves himself a little bit low on the black, he can stun up and he'll move them in one shot. Certainly moved them into better position. So as long as he's got a decent angle on this red running through, and he leaves that half ball black, he's got a big chance here.
Six.
Well, played a run through instead of a stun up, so presumably he thinks he can sneak around the back of the black.
13.
And he can. So how's Judd scoring? It does look a little bit tight, doesn't it? Might have to flick a bit of side on. Just about.
14.
And he lost the cue ball slightly as well.
Yeah, I think he did play with a touch aside, as you mentioned, John, which caused him just to run slightly out of position. But if he runs through, there's a red to the left of the pack there that'll go into the left corner, so should be okay. You could do with being straight on this red to run through and get on the black, or just off straight.
19.
Yeah, just enough angle to do it. Oh, he's just cued across that one slightly.
Judd Trump, 19.
Okay, he hasn't left anything, but just the cue didn't go through in a straight line there.
Yeah, that's one of the remarkable things. It doesn't always go through in a straight line. It's an amazing technique that he's got. You wouldn't teach it to anybody. It's certainly doesn't go through straight when he plays, but he's got such incredible timing and knows his own game inside out that he can play to the standard that he does, but you certainly wouldn't be teaching it. It's all Judd's own. Nice pot and good control as well. Managed to keep hold of the cue ball. Another good chance for Tom Ford. Exactly what he would have hoped for.
4.
Brilliant start. And another good chance in frame 2.
You could just see the dome on the tip of his cue there. That's the way they should be. A lot of amateur players would have the tip flat across, which makes it very difficult. I think he's just about okay here.
Yeah, just slightly overscrewed it, didn't he, coming down? I'd love to have been on the outside of the reds there, just to run through for the black. These are funny ones, Dennis, aren't they? They always look like they fly in from behind the pocket, but when you're down playing the shot, so in that case, he's not taking the chance, he's taking the outside red.
And this time it's Tom that's come up short with his position. Makes a big difference. Just going away from the reds now. He's having to leave a tricky pot into the left corner pocket. Whereas if it was the other side of the blue, it would have been straightforward. Just one more good shot and position, and he can get himself back into the scoring 16. End of the table up around the black. No. I don't know whether he got a kick there. Look where the whites finished, John.
No, I don't know, but the cue action was a little bit flicky compared to the other ones. It was a little snatchy. Maybe you can see it did move, so probably doing him a bit of an injustice there. But the cue action at the same time didn't look as fluent as it had been in amongst the balls. Might have left a plant.
1.
Got the plant, but didn't really hold the cue ball.
Yeah, can't pop the pink up into the corner. It'll have to be the middle pocket here. And
Judd Trump.
I'd be getting a little bit encouraged if I was Tom Ford, because the defending champion has certainly not settled. That wasn't easy, I know that, but one or two chances going begging. He'll be bang under it. You won't want to come here this year and not have a good run.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Apologise to Judd, but listen, you've got to take full advantage of best of 19. If you get a bit of form like that, you jump on it, John, yeah?
Yeah, apologise by all means, but then clear up.
Well, the three reds up around the black and pink spot area there are all perfectly placed. The other three are going to be a little awkward.
6.
That's the importance of getting the correct side of the blue. It's straightforward. He can play for all three reds now.
Top of the show, Alan McManus said the tables were looking pristine. They seem to look like to be playing that way. Looks a beautiful piece of cloth. Running nicely.
11.
Ooh, just about. Nearly
12.
had a twitchy one there. He just went off the jaw. You can tell Tom is really feeling it out there. He knows how important this is for a 2-0 lead.
Oh, that's got a big bounce. That seemed to come off the cushion quite quickly there. He could have played for both reds, so
I think there's a bit of pilot error as well in that one. I think you're right, Dennis. It came off, but I mean, he's got such a margin there. That is a very poor shot from someone of his standard.
Oh, can he recover? Yeah, good recovery, but he's going to have to play for the red. That, as we show you the pot again, good long pot after the disappointing positional shot, but he's going to have to. He can't play for the red that's next to the black now. He's going to have to try and get on that one over the right side of the table.
Yeah, can't quite work out the angle here, whether he can play to flick the red off, which he's tried. No, is that red in exactly the same position it was earlier, Dennis? Or he was having a look to see if it sneaked past or has it been moved? Yeah, he's having a look again. I say, from behind the pocket, you can always make these go. You know, I always see people in the club playing these shots and they stand behind the pocket and go, oh, this definitely goes. It's the other side where Tom is, it's the important one. It's always different.
Well, we've got the perfect picture there. It would have to just go in off that left jaw of the pocket. Yep, well done.
24.
So easy there to just flick the black with the red and miss that type of shot. Now, what's the difference? He's 27 in front. Red
31.
and black 35, so he only needs the red that's out in the open, and it will be 2-0.
32.
And this will give the defending champion quite a bit to think about so early in this match.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the reviews of the championship, and bookmakers' ideas of matches and stuff, and I didn't think this was an easy qualifier for Judd to be playing. Massively odds on. Judd, obviously you'd fancy him to win the match, but I never thought the discrepancy was that great. He's a very good player, is Tom Ford.
Yeah, the head-to-head is 9 wins to Judd, 4 to Tom. So, you know, he has beaten Judd on 4 occasions.
45.
We mentioned that 2014 World Championship, 10-8, where he... but the other one, way back in 2010 in the qualifying round in the World Championship, he beat Judd, believe it or not, 10-3. But that's a different player. That was 2010.
Yeah, plenty to think about. Well done, that's definitely ended the frame.
46.
This is very good. I mean, you can see he's been trying to hold himself together a bit in the break, lost the position a few times, but he's knocked the balls in. It's the important thing, kept it going. It's not easy out there.
Yeah, I think the costly one for Judd in that frame was when he had the plant and didn't get on, he was playing to get on the black and didn't even get on the black or the pink properly.
Yeah, I mean, the cue ball was slightly near the cushion, but you still thought he could have dug down enough to get on there, get some work on the cue ball. Well, he's missed that, Tom Ford, but he won't be too worried about that.
The second frame, Tom Ford.
And Trump sits in his chair, and he's got work to do because Tom Ford has got into a 2-0 lead.
Well, what a story we may have here, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Tom didn't look so strong in the next frame there. He started to miss a couple, but that very, very important fluke, it's a killer for Judd. Look, so he's missed this by some way, and it had to be missed by some way to actually go in the middle pocket. And even though he didn't make, it wasn't plain sailing the rest of it, he made a great break to keep it going. A couple of good saves as well to keep the break going. But, you know, as was mentioned there in commentary from John and Dennis, nobody expected Judd to even have a problem with Tom Ford. But as we know, these players have come through the qualifiers. They're not poor players by any means. And he's the type of player, we all know with Tom Ford, how great a scorer he is. Maybe he hasn't produced on the bigger stage, but who's to say this isn't his year to cause an upset?
As you say, Tom is potting well. If you're Judd, you're sitting there, you're 2-0 down, reigning world champion?
Well, I know from experience of being so much the favourite, when you go there, if you panic, that's when there's trouble, because you can have it's not that you expect you're going to win, but you sort of feel that you're going to be going out there as the dominant force and it's business as usual. Then something goes wrong, the other guy gets off to a good start, then a fluke, and then all of a sudden your hole gets bigger, and if you panic, then you're in trouble. One thing I think Judd's good at, and as shown, is he's pretty calm in most situations.
Very, very composed, but he is 2-0 down. Back to Dennis and John.
Yeah, interesting words again from the studio. I have to give Tony Knowles a mention, won't we? Dennis, Steve had that many triumphs and successes. Why don't we give him the 10-1 to Tony Knowles, just to make him feel better?
They showed that on BBC, didn't it, during lockdown? And I think Steve was out that night. He didn't manage to watch it.
Yeah, I did get the text message.
Still playing, Tony Knowles, playing in the seniors, legends. We always say in the longer matches you play a little mini sessions, 4 frames before the mid-session interval, you set your stall out. It'd be nice to go to the interval leading 3-1, that's your plan. Anything else would be a bonus, but both players think the same way, so that's what makes this game so fascinating. It's, in fact, Barry Hearn showed you earlier, he once said snooker was like a game of chess with balls. He's not far wrong. Yeah, chess with balls. That's the man that created that. He's got a lovely smile, hasn't he, Barry? He must have won at golf yesterday.
Yeah, originally going to play the red down the cushion there, but not much value in it with the black being unpottable. So this is tough cueing. Yeah, very easy to hit across those, especially when you're 2-0 down and not settled. Another chance for Tom Ford. He's at sea at the minute.
And is normally the case when you're struggling a little bit and you miss a pot, you always seem to stick it up when you're playing well and you miss, you leave them safe. Needs to keep going, and it has. So can he get one good positional shot here? It's not going to be easy to get nicely onto his next red. Got to get plenty of action on the cue ball. You can see him digging right down into the bottom of the cue there. That's a bit close to the cushion for comfort.
Poor shot that. Didn't get into it.
4.
Knew full well as soon as he'd struck it. You can just see there's inklings of Tom getting a wee bit excited by the 2-0 score line and another chance. You just got to keep doing what he did in that first frame and just take those chances when they come. This is a big shot with cueing involved. This is very easy to hit across this. Well cued.
5.
Going to need another one.
Well, I could call that a JP special. John Parrott, one of the greatest players ever to pot balls and the whites tucked up near the cushion or on it. And of course, our dear old friend used to say, who's no longer with us, sadly, Willie Thorne would say, well, JP was so good on the cushion because he didn't play a good positional shot. He'd give you a little bit of stick, wouldn't he, John?
He certainly would. Oh, we're going to miss him, aren't we? Meanwhile, Tom has recovered the cue ball very well in this. Looked like it had gone awry for a couple of shots, but he's got it back.
Yeah, I noticed Barry had a black armband on as well. That was for the great WT, Willie Thorne, and also Brandon Parker, who sadly passed away, director of World Snooker.
19.
Managed quite a few of the players, great friend of Sean Murphy's as well, as a lot of players.
Yeah, that came as a great shock.
The referee also wearing an armband.
Handy. This will be handy if the pink's gone up onto the brown. He can come back onto the blue,
25.
and he's got a lovely target to split the reds up. They're a really nice bunch.
Yeah, sure.
I
26.
think she's got a funny contact, but that should be absolutely perfect.
Referee for this match, Marcel Egghardt from Germany. He's been top referee for a number of years now. Didn't quite get into the pack as he intended there. That was it looks unlucky, but it wasn't a good shot, John.
No, if anything, you need to be airing on the left-hand side of the top red so you get the gap. Even the gap would have been a good shout there. But he's just overscrewed it and lost the cue ball. It looks a little bit unlucky, but it wasn't a great contact.
Tom Ford, 31.
Good safety though. 81 points and down on the ball cushion.
Smashing lad, as you said, John, but sometimes he gets a little bit down on himself. If he makes a few mistakes, his temperament sometimes just lets him down a little bit, but it means so much to him,
Yeah, and maybe lacked a little confidence in himself, because I always used to watch him in the cubicles in the qualifiers, Dennis, and all you kept hearing was him making 100 breaks every frame. And yet when he came on the main stages at the television tournaments, he never really quite produced what he was capable of. I rate him very highly. I think he's a wonderful break builder and cueist, and when he gets going, it's very flowing action he's got. There's no doubt about it. He hasn't quite fulfilled what he's capable of, but still time. There's been players on the circuit who have been around for a while and then all of a sudden find something and get that bit of confidence, and maybe that's all he needs.
Well, that's what happened, Judd Trump. I mean, Judd should have won the World Championship, or had a great chance to win the World Championship 2011. I'd never seen snooker like it. The potting that he produced at the Crucible that year, to eventually lose out to John Higgins, but it's taken him a good number of years to lift the world title. And what has he done? He's won 6 ranking titles this year, so it's all about confidence, as you say.
Yeah, and Stuart Bingham be another example, wouldn't he? You know, Stuart was around the circuit for a long time before he really hit the heights. What a player he's turned out to become. World and Masters champion. I think Judd can just sneak past the green. Nearly had him in trouble there, Tom. There's that cueing you see down the line. Not entirely straight. That works for Judd. No point in changing that at all, the way he plays. Excellent.
1.
Yeah, good pot there. Great for the confidence, those shots. It may have landed on the brown, but I can't see the angle's going to be any good for him. So it might just be a... You could always tuck him in down the pink or the green, but if he has got an angle on the brown, maybe he can play across. He's looking at it.
Bramble.
Yeah, missed the pot because of the amount of side he had on the cue ball there. Terrific amount of left-hand side to try and swing the white towards the reds, and it's easy to miss a shot when you have that amount of side on the cue ball.
It's just an example of the way the game's changed now, Dennis. Nobody even thinks about tucking somebody up, do they? Who plays a snooker these days? Virtually nobody.
Well, that's not the best. It needs to keep going, and that's not the best safety shot from Judd. So he's just struggling to get his game going at the moment. He hasn't had many chances just to kick things off. Important shot this coming up. No. Now where's the red going to finish? Now this is the chance that Judd's been waiting for, because those reds are nicely placed. They may look a little awkward, but there's 3 or 4 available.
Yeah, that was a very big mistake. Had his chance, can't complain.
1.
Yeah, virtually hit that full ball, didn't he?
Red's only available into one pocket, so a cannon may be needed. Or, well, he can play for the one to the middle pocket. Wanted to be straight on this. He's got the one to the left and the back of the reds as well, so if he can get through to that, he can play up for the blue. He's had a look at that one. He's back looking at the one to the middle. It's whichever one gives him the better position, so it's this for the blue.
Nine.
3 more potable reds at the moment. The 2 on the side cushion difficult, and the 2 in between the 2 open reds, they're just a little bit awkward, but we'll have a chance to disturb them a few shots time. Another chance to see
22.
that. It jumped a little bit, that, didn't it?
Yeah, he nearly missed that. He flicked a bit of side on there. And this is a tester. Yep, it's a tester. He's hitting across.
22.
Every time he's been on the side cushion today, the examples we've had, he's hit across things. He certainly hit across that one. Definitely not settled down.
1.
Same problem for Tom here. 1 more loose red, and it'll be an anxious. I know it's early on, but it will be a slightly anxious Judd Trump watching the outcome of this effort. And there's the cannon to bring those 2 reds into play.
Oh, and what a lovely little flick this was. Watch this red that he hits in the middle. Just flicks the other one even better. So nice little cannon, that. Well, he obviously feels this one's okay.
9.
And he can score enough to leave Judd needing a snooker with, you know, the 2 difficult reds. He won't need one of those. He'll have enough points on the board. And that kicked slightly, but he's okay. It didn't affect the pot, fortunately. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, it was going towards that right jaw, but
16.
Still managed to go in. Well, he's 26 ahead. He could do with 2 reds, 2 blacks here, I think. Otherwise he might need one of those difficult reds.
He's still going to need one anyway, isn't he? He's going to be 42. So he's going to have to think of somewhere. I mean, he could play the shot here, play on the red, pot it in the middle, and play a cannon onto the red off the cushion. Yeah, I think that's what he was thinking of. Ready to flick the red out into play, but
24.
Come too straight. So those 2 reds Dennis has mentioned, they're going to be a problem for both players.
Hmm.
25.
I don't think he can get to the reds now. Yeah, the black and 1 more red needed. So still a possibility for Judd Trump. But he needs 2 reds, 2 blacks. All the colours to pinch the frame by a point. Is he going to get a chance?
Yeah, Tom's got to be very careful here. He's playing this shot. Maybe bringing 2 reds into play if you're not careful.
Tom Ford, 32.
Now, believe it or not, that cannon on the blue has helped things for Tom Ford. Look where he's pushed the blue. It won't go past the green. It won't go past the brown. And an unintentional cannon on the blue has helped him slightly.
That's a good shot. That's well played. Might be able to sneak through though, Dennis, can he?
I think he can Just enough room. Can't hit the right side of the red to play the safety shot, though.
Yeah, but the good thing about that shot was he was forcing Tom into moving the red off the cushion. He covered the other one that was in open play. So now both balls are out in the open and they can be potted a lot easier from there.
Just the pace kept that out. He had to force it to get on the black. Looked in there, but with these middle pockets, well, how many times has that gone around the edge of the pocket?
So, one good pot required. No. And despite the fact that he's 2-0 up and 42 ahead, he still looks a bit edgy to me, Tom. It is a bizarre game, this snooker. He looks like the one who's under the cosh.
Well, a little smile there from Judd. This would be some shot if he could somehow pot this red and get on the black. It looks like he's having a go at it. Oh, fabulous shot. Fabulous pot and position.
Yeah. I don't know what's been happening on the other table, but that's the shot of the tournament so far. That is absolutely wonderful. Blind pocket, check side. Well, if he clears up from here, every credit, as our good old friend would say. That was an absolutely rasping opening pot, and Tom's just got to sit there now. And I wonder, Dennis, you mentioned the blue earlier. Will that have a bearing?
No.
It's making the clearance a lot more difficult.
Yes, it's definitely the key ball, isn't it? That blue where it was knocked off its spot into that position when Tom accidentally cannoned into it. Loads of reverse side there. Not
16.
Quite enough. He's going to have to use the rest.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, if he could have cued it and he's left-handed, it would have been great for him to come the other side for the green to go in the same pocket as the yellow. That would have solved the problem with the blue. And he may still be able to get there with a little bit of side. So pot the yellow and get in the same pocket with the green. So there you go. He solved that particular problem.
18.
It's not totally straightforward, but you'd expect him to get it. And has Tom Ford missed a very big chance for 3-0?
Yeah, he's okay. He can get onto the blue now into the same pocket as the brown, or he can leave the blue to the middle. Options here. Just leave the blue 25. To the middle, and if it's dead straight, just bring the white back a fraction. Even if it's not straight, he can leave the pink for the other corner pocket. So yeah, it was almost straight,
30.
and this will be a body blow to Tom Ford, that's for sure. Oh, what has he done there? I mean,
36.
Shouldn't have been anywhere near the middle pocket, John.
Well, I've seen some things. I mean, the opening red that he's knocked in to get in is an unbelievable shot. That is an absolute stinker. You could not play that any worse. To hit the middle pocket is, well, it's unforgivable. It's the only thing that can go wrong.
He didn't have to go near a side cushion. He could have screwed up one side of the table or stunned up the other side. He never dreamt he would catch the jaw of the middle pocket. And now we've got the tension of a black ball to decide this third frame.
What a reprieve that was for Tom Ford. He's not playing the cut, is he? Surely.
Judd Trump, 36.
Well, he did, and played it in such a way and in a pace that it would come away from the pocket. So actually, it's worked out all right, because this is horrible. Good luck getting this safe. Very, very well done. Unbelievably well done. Look at that, Dennis.
I think that's pretty safe, John.
Wow.
But he was so close to getting a double kiss. He had to be so precise there. That's I knew when you called the shot it was going to be very difficult, but what a gem he's pulled out there. Oh, this is a chance. Now, if he's off straight, it's not too bad, but it's a tough one.
Fancy him?
Well, he missed one earlier, slightly easier than this, but here we go. Big shot. No. And where's the black going? It's going safe.
Wow. What a result that is. It's all happening in this frame. I mean, honestly, when Judd was on the blue, I thought, it's all over. How have we ended up with this situation? All right. Not wonderful. Should have had that pretty tight to the cushion, would have been better. Just gives Tom an easy option. And that's a good shot. A shot used by the players quite a lot now. I always want the cue ball to be slightly higher than the object ball on the other cushion. Makes it difficult to play a good safety.
Oh, he's hit it a bit on the thick side, but he's just okay.
This side, yeah.
Psychologically, this is a huge frame for Judd Trump, because it was at his mercy and he played a poor positional shot. Oh, he's cut it in. Well, would you believe it? Tom Ford cuts a fabulous black in and pinches the frame. He thought it had gone, but all of a sudden, he's leading the defending champion by 3 frames to 0. He can't believe it.
Yeah, Dennis is absolutely right there. Little shake of the head there from Tom Ford. Can't believe what we've all been through there. Absolutely incredible. Pretty tense.
Yeah, I'd say loads and loads of twists and turns in that frame. Obviously, Judd Trump's mistake, positional mistake from the pink hitting the jaw of the middle pocket was unforgivable. But they both had chances. But that shake of the head. Those types of frames, especially at this situation, and going back to, I don't want to go back in the past, that's so far long ago. I remember I lost the first frame against Tony Knowles, wherever it was, okay? And then all of a sudden, the hole started to get bigger, and then a comedy of errors happened, and every time I seemed to have problems. So all of a sudden, that mistake by Judd Trump has magnified now the difference between 2-1 and 3-0. And if those problems start to become bigger and bigger, you then start to lose your cue action. Doesn't matter if you've won 6 tournaments in the season.
You were also saying earlier that when you are the defending champion and when you're at first couple of frames at the Crucible Theatre as well, you're almost looking to your opponent to give you an opportunity to get your foot back into the match. Whereas what you got at the moment is Tom, OK, he did in that frame, but certainly not the first 2 frames. No,
and he's knocked the ball. He potted the game ball in the end, so he's doing his job. But you need help from your opponent sometimes. When all of a sudden you've got off to a ropey start, you want some help. And the other problem for the defending champion, they always play on day 1. It's sometimes as if the tournament hasn't really started. You haven't got your teeth into it. And there you are, you're 3-0 down and you're in shock because you don't feel like the tournament's even going. And the next minute you've got a problem that you may have thought might have manifested itself later in the tournament when you've got sort of the wherewithal to cope with it.
And also, don't forget as well, Steve, you've also got all the interviews that you're doing as well, where people are reminding you you're the defending champion as well. And that adds pressure, Steve.
All the top players are more vulnerable in the first round than any other round at the Crucible.
Absolutely. By the way, I haven't seen you for a few years, so I wasn't going to mention Tony Knowles, but clearly Dennis and John had no problem bringing it up.
There's not a lot we can give him stick about, Jason. When it comes up, we just love it. Yeah, so interesting to see what Judd's response is to that. That was such a bad pink he played. To go anywhere near the middle pocket in attempting and clearing up was just, well, I doubt he's ever played a worse shot. I mean, you shouldn't be anywhere near there. It's the only way he couldn't be on the black.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's just a lack of confidence. That's the only reason he's missed that. You know, I know he's close to the cushion, but that's because of the circumstances and what's gone in the 3 previous frames that caused that.
Yeah, I think Steve in the studio has made a very good point about, you know, problems and you can unravel. This is what's happening at the moment. I mean, Judd's, well, definitely at sea with his game. I still feel as if Tom's not really totally settled down. Even the chances he was getting in the last couple of frames, he hasn't looked totally at ease. But he's got to forget that and just play it as if he's playing in the club, playing somebody else. You know, if he was in the club playing with these chances, he wouldn't be missing. He'd be taking them. He's just got to forget the fact it's Judd Trump and it's the World Championship and just do what he can do, which is play snooker to a very high standard, because he's certainly very capable.
Five. Six.
There is a red that's next to the black that I think is available. But you got to pot the blue, though.
It's on fourth.
It's unbelievable. He's 3-0 up and he looks nervous. He's not careful. He's going to throw a lifeline here to Judd. He's got him in all sorts of problems at 3-0 up.
Judd needs a sizable contribution here because his highest break was 36 in the previous frame and he hasn't really got into the match just yet. And he certainly doesn't want to go to the mid-session interval losing all 4. It's not an easy chance, this.
May be able to get to that loose red to the left of the black and just up from the black. Of course, the one he's closest to will go in the middle as well, so options.
Five.
Oh, excellent shot. Very nicely played that was, with a little flick cannon. Just took the other red away.
12.
And take it from me, people, he'll be under the caution this chance here. He knows how important it is. And 3-0 down.
13.
Maybe he'll be fully focused with this chance.
$20. $20. 51.
You cast your mind back, Dennis, last year to the very first round. Judd had real problems in his first round match with Tepchire Unnu. He was 9-all, and Tepchire got in first in the final frame and just didn't land on a colour. Could have been all different, and of course the rest is history. Judd went on to play some unbelievable
28.
snooker, but that first round match was a 10-9 with Tepchire. So none of the players totally enjoy these first rounds.
29.
And that's a match you don't want to miss as well when Tepchire plays Ronnie. You should definitely be booking a seat on the couch for that one, because Tepchire's average time playing a shot is 14 seconds, and he can score, and he's playing, of course, the Rocket, one of the greatest players ever, if not the greatest.
Yeah, he is the only player that could possibly beat that
35.
amazing record of Ronnie's at 1:47 in 5 minutes and 20 seconds. He's quick enough to possibly do that, but I've said I can't see it ever been beaten, but he is the one player that could possibly do it. I could do with a good angle on the pink here this time to cannon into the 5 reds.
43.
That looks to be
44.
absolutely spot on. So key shot coming up.
Doesn't look like he's on the red on the right hand side, and will
50.
it pass the blue in the middle, the other one, so might be left with a slightly trickier shot here. And that one's very tight, so it's just, well, he can hopefully get through the gap, and he can. Good shot.
51.
So this has been a very useful and needed contribution from Judd Trump. Have to say though, it was gifted to him by Tom Ford's miss on the blue. Just a few reds and colours away from getting his first frame on the board in this year's championship.
Yeah, he missed the blue and it finished where it is now. But this is the shot. Okay, he was close to the cushion, but he just hit it too thin and went slightly out of position. But what a chance that was for Tom. But Judd has done remarkably well here. Just showing what a true champion he is here. Okay, early in the match, but the back was against the wall there, and he's produced the goods, and he'll be feeling 67. A lot better now at the mid-session interval.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bounce back after, well, I mentioned it again, a horrific pink in the frame before.
74.
Yeah. Doing what all great champions do, and blanking it out.
75.
Coming back strong. As for Tom Ford, well, he'd be delighted to have a 3-1 lead. He's got to take that into the interval and say he's happy with that. But just, even though he's in front, just needs to look like he needs to settle down a little bit still.
Oh, that's pretty good. He's on 98 centuries for this season, you know. I mean, Neil Robertson went past the 100 centuries in the season. We didn't think that would happen again, but there's so many tournaments being played, and when you've won 6 ranking titles, that's why he's made the amount of centuries he has this season.
83.
It's going to be very difficult here to make one, but that would be some achievement if he can get to a century of centuries in a season, John.
There's every chance he'll do it in this match. Plenty of frames to play. So something else to watch as we go along, but I mean, it's in a phenomenal run. His prize money, Dennis, is already over £1 million this season, which is incredible. Shows the health of the game and the sport, but also shows how good he is.
$87. 38.
Every chance now of the century. He's made 714 in his
95.
illustrious career. And he's made
97.
the maximum break on 4 occasions. One of the all-time great break builders.
$100.
Very well played, Judd Trump. What a response. He's jumped on that missed blue that we showed you again and taken full advantage.
104.
Judd Trump special down the cushion.
Why not? How about fluking it in the other... Oh, he's played it plain ball. It's, that's rolled out, isn't it? Get the table fitter.
104.
Yeah, a little smile there, maybe drifted a little bit, didn't really matter. He needed a response, and we certainly got it from Judd Trump there. We go to the mid-session interval. Tom Ford will be delighted, leading 3 frames to 1.
Thank you. Yes, he will indeed. But that was a very big frame for Judd Trump, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, interesting. John Parrott saying, you looked like he was, the way you played it, you were still tentative. But you can be that far in front, but you realise that the enormity of the situation. That if you win this frame, you're 4-0 up on the world champion. So every frame's difficult, and you can get yourself under pressure from in front.
Absolutely. All right, then, we will be popping back and forth to the Crucible. Radzi is there for us, and he's been talking to Barry Hearn.
Barry, throughout match play, we saw pictures of you with a big smile on your face there. How does it feel as the WST chairman to finally see this get underway?
Well, I've got to say it's a relief, but then I've got 17 days of worry ahead of me. So it's been 12 weeks in the process of 24 hours a day planning, discussions with government, going through public health authority meetings, trying to make it as safe as possible for everybody. And I'm very proud, actually, to be honest. I'm proud of the team that put it in place. I'm proud of the players, most of the players, that have been so supportive. And the fact that 500 million TV viewers around the world are going to watch snooker, that's my job. That's what I do.
What you kind of alluded to there, I think, is possibly Anthony Hamilton deciding to withdraw very late. What did you make of that?
I can't sit on the fence of it. It doesn't sit well with me at all. You don't enter the qualifiers, you enter an event, and everyone knew what the event was and what was happening. The fans were going to be there, hopefully. Safety measures, we've got an established track record better than any other sport in the country. To actually pull out after the qualifiers, to me, he's robbed a fellow pro of a chance to appear at the Crucible, and I think that's inexcusable, and there's no easy way for me to say it. He will get his prize money and he will get his ranking money, because I don't think he's actually broken a rule. Maybe the rules weren't good enough, and I'll look at that. But for the moment, he gets his dues. But no, it doesn't sit with me at all, at all, at all. If I was a player in those qualifying rounds, not having the chance to appear at the Crucible, it wouldn't sit well with me either.
And if Scott Donaldson happened to be watching now, what would you say to him?
Well, it's not just Scott. I mean, Scott Donaldson was beaten fair and square by Anthony Hamilton, by the way. It's not that, it's just every player. Obviously, without Anthony Hamilton, someone else would have got the chance, and someone else would have got to the Crucible. And the Crucible is the dream of all snooker players, to walk down those stairs. You've only got to see the faces and listen to the voices of the debutants this year. I think there's 5 of them. They are, this is their dream. And we're in the theatre of dreams here. And that dream has been taken away by someone who's entered a qualifying round with absolutely no intention of playing in the final round. And if that's not the case, then why did he enter the qualifying rounds at all?
Final negative question, if you like, before we get to the positive stuff. Ronnie O'Sullivan, his comment about lab rats. What did you make of that?
Listen, that's Ronnie O'Sullivan. He loves a headline, Ronnie. Probably he wasn't getting enough attention at the time. But no, it was like most things with Ronnie, there's always a little bit of truth in it. I mean, we are a test event. Test event, lab rats, okay. It's a phrase that gets you a headline. We don't really go down that road. I'm glad he's playing. He's a great player. I'm a big fan of his. Not so much of a fan of some of his throwaway comments, but that's Ronnie. You've got to live with it. He hates authority. He hates anything to do with that. So that's just his makeup. But he's playing, he'll give 100%, and that's much more important for me than anything anyone says.
And actually, when he'll be playing, there'll be so many more people watching. Right now, there should be wall-to-wall Olympic coverage. There's no Tokyo 2020 this year, so snooker's in a good place.
Well, to be fair, we were very lucky about that. When we abandoned, I mean, this is a 17-day event. You will know yourself how difficult it is to get 17 days TV schedule. That doesn't exist. But the Olympics cancelling opened that window of opportunity, and we jumped through it straight away. And the BBC were very supportive and said, yeah. They couldn't say they didn't have the days, because they definitely had the days. So we were very, very fortunate with that. And in the light of, Premier League's now finished, I think, like most of our events, in fact, all of the events we've done behind closed doors have attracted massive audiences, whether it's on ITV, BBC or Sky. So I think this will follow suit, and a lot of people, I hope, will find the snooker entertaining, and perhaps there's a whole new audience out there for us, But all we can do is concentrate on doing our job to the very best we can do it, whether it's health and safety, whether it's maintaining prize money at pre-COVID levels, unlike most sports, whether it's trying to give the fans a decent experience. I walked around the arena earlier, just chatted to fans from a social distance, and I love the reaction. Listen, I've been a sportsman for over 45 years. I feed off that. When people say thank you, when people say, I know you've worked hard, when people say, I'm really looking forward to it. When a guy was in there said, I brought my daughter to the Crucible, she's never been before, she's so excited. That's why we have passion. That's why we love sport. And sport is so important for the mental health of the whole nation. And if we don't come out of this COVID, we have to come out of it stage by stage. It's not going to be an easy run. So we can't expect an easy run. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we'll have a contingency plan, but we hope, like Boris says, I'm not getting political, we fear the worst and we hope for the best. And that's the attitude we've got. But we will not be defeated. We will not take a backward step. We will continue in our pledge as promoters and owners of World Snooker to deliver the finest event that we can deliver within the circumstances. And for that, I'm eternally grateful, not just to my team who've been brilliant, but to the players. The vast majority of players have been so supportive. They understand the problems and they're excited because they were born to play snooker. And if you're born to play snooker, the ultimate dream is to appear at the Crucible Theatre. You can't buy it.
Barry, thanks very much for your time and good luck for the next 17 days. And let's make this a tournament to remember for the right reasons.
Lovely. Thank you, sir.
Fascinating listening to Barry Hearn talking to Radzi. There is so much to talk about.
I thought he was running for politician there for a minute. It was great.
There's so much to talk about after that interview with Radzi there. Let's just pick up, first of all, if we may, on Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah.
Quote was, doesn't sit well with me, and maybe we will have to look at the rules.
Well, I'm sitting here as one individual, trying to make an opinion on the subject that sort of, it's tough, as we mentioned at the start. I don't know. I know there'll be players aggrieved that situation. There's a match, there's a walkover. Should never happen at the Crucible. We know this situation. Trying to play devil's advocate to what Barry said there. OK, so what happens if a player I don't know the situation. What happens if a player plays in the qualifiers and intends to play at the Crucible, then has a health wobble? What happens if a player who's already entered and he's one of the top seeds, all of a sudden looks back and goes, there's a crowd, and I've got an elderly parent or something, and has a wobble? I don't know. I don't know the situation. You can make your own judgments on it. But they're weird times, and so I don't know.
We are living in, to use that phrase, unprecedented times, and one has to have a little sympathy with any player who wakes up in the morning and thinks, am I making the right decision for myself and my family's health?
Then the next thing is, OK, if a player mentally makes the decision because the rules are not in place, I'm going to enter the qualifiers, nick a few quid and ranking points because I need a few quid because I haven't had any work for ages. Who wouldn't maybe go with that as well? Only playing, once again, devil's advocate. I don't know. I'd have to sit down for a longer period of time than a couple of days to try and work out. A lot of people may have gone, well, OK, I've got through, I've got to play, even if I don't like it, I don't fancy it. Marco Fu decided not to fly over. you make your own decision.
But he made that call.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Only Anthony knows. So.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the job that World Snooker have done, Barry and his team as well. You know, they've done a tremendous job in getting this event underway.
Incredible. Everybody backstage has jumped through hoops. They've had tournaments on before this, early on, where, you know, the logistics have been madness. You know, the rests have not been able to be put on the so many, you know, table spray, everything. And all the officials and all the staff that have shown willing, because it must have been a worry for everybody. And there was a time back in March, April, where everybody was just paranoid about, you know, even going anywhere near anybody in the streets. So it must have been very, very worrying for all those. But they all trusted that it was going to be done properly. I think they've done a great job.
And just one last point on what Barry said there about sport. If you're sports fans, like us all, he's absolutely right when he talks about, for the mental health of the nation, live sport, watching sport, enjoying the thrill, the drama, whether it's snooker, rugby union, football, cricket, whatever. Vitally important.
You can only see how many people were happy that soccer was back on television. There was a part I felt early on that it didn't really matter whether sport was on, because there were more important things. But somewhere along the line, as Barry says, as we come out of this, you need something to look forward to. So that's where I think sport's important. You know, to some, maybe, does it matter who wins this year? Obviously it does to the players, it does to some fans, but I think in a way it's more important the tournament's on. Yeah. And it celebrates snooker, and let's celebrate getting back to some type of normality.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, Steve, for now. Well, just last month we lost our very dear friend and colleague, Willie Thorne, and Willie will be missed by us all.
As Willie Thorne breaks off.
Willie was just a one-off, a very, very special man, and I spent 45 years laughing all over the world with Willie.
We're all saddened by it, you know, he's such a large part of our snooker community. The nights out with Willie, Dennis, JP, you know, for Stephen and myself, and JP, Steve Davis, you know, and just having a laugh and talking, and Willie was a big part of that.
He was such a larger-than-life character around snooker that, you know, the players' lounges and the champions' lounges and the commentary boxes will be a lot quieter and a lot less entertaining now for Willie's passing.
You know, there's people in life who are half-glass empty merchants. Willie was certainly never one of those. Very rarely did I ever see him miserable, and he always looked on the bright side of life, no matter what was happening in his own.
We'd all be chatting, it'd be great, but as soon as Willie walked in, he just brought an air of fun. You just knew he was going to come out with something. Or his famous lines were, you know, it could be me, Steve Davis, John Higgins, Ronnie sat there, and Willie will bound in. And who was the best player in here before I walked in?
And, you know, he had this air about him around the table that he owned the table. He had a great walk, you know, he was a real, you know, he was a great dresser. He looked immaculate all the time.
I always remember Jimmy said if Willie ever won the World Championship, he'd turn up next year in a full-length mink coat. You know, he would play every shot with a long rest from his chair, because he'd just be the best winner you've ever seen. My very first match at the Crucible, losing 10-8, I played Willie Thorne. And yeah, playing the match, and obviously the infamous at the end when he clapped me out, when he beat me 10-8. At the time I thought it was